heartbreaking news about Rick Harrison has left fans in shock. The beloved Pawn Stars leader, who built an empire out of historical treasures and family stories, is now grappling with a deeply personal tragedy that has rocked his world. This time, it's not about the shop or TV fame, it's a loss that touches the very core of his life. One show that has done this since 2009 is Pawn Stars on the History Channel. It perfectly combines entertainment, history, and negotiation. Rick Harrison, co-founder of the show and the shop, has spent most of his life in the shop and worked hard to grow and expand the pawn shop business. Despite his clear dedication to growth, Rick has faced many personal hardships and legal battles that most people are unaware of. Let's examine what happened to Rick Harrison and get an update on his current condition. Richard Kelvin Harrison, famously known to fans as Rick Harrison, was born on March 22, 1965, to Richard Benjamin Harrison and Joan Rue Harrison. His parents had 4 kids: Sherry, Joseph, Rick, and Chris, with Rick being the third child. Rick experienced tragedy early in life when he lost one of his siblings, Sherry Joan Harrison. She, the first child of Benjamin and Joan Harrison, was born with Down syndrome and eventually passed away at the age of 6. Rick's father was a U.S. Navy veteran, and in 1967, when Harrison was 2, his family moved to San Diego, California, due to his father's transfer. Rick faced ongoing problems when he began having epileptic seizures at 8 years old, which left him with no other choice but to spend a lot of time in bed reading books. This sparked his lifelong love for books and reading. He especially liked a series by John D. Fitzgerald called The Great Brain, which featured a 10-year-old Utah con artist named Tom D. Fitzgerald, who inspired Harrison. Harrison really liked physics and history, and he especially enjoyed learning about the Royal Navy from the late 1700s to the early 1800s. Harrison went to Taft Middle School in San Diego but dropped out during 10th grade to sell fake Gucci bags for $20 a week. Rick and his family moved to Las Vegas, Nevada, in April 1981 because their parents' real estate business had failed. At 17, Rick faced another challenge when his girlfriend, Kim, became pregnant. Although pretty young, Rick bravely decided to embrace fatherhood. Sadly, the couple experienced the terrible loss of their first child to a miscarriage. Despite this, they stayed strong and eventually got married in 1982. They gave birth to their first child, Corey, on April 27, 1983, who later became vital to his father's business. 2 years later, they happily greeted their second child, Adam. Not long after Adam was born, Harrison and Kim separated in 1985. But Rick didn't stay a single dad for long. Just 9 months after his divorce, he started dating Tracy. They dated for about 8 months before getting married in 1986. Together, they took on the responsibility of caring for Corey and Adam. We've talked about Rick's foray into physics and history, which benefited his career because when his father opened a 300-square-foot second-hand gold and silver coin shop on Las Vegas Boulevard South in 1981, Rick's expertise in history really contributed to the shop's success, as he was available to give historical backing to each piece. But at night, Rick repossessed cars. 5 years later, the family relocated to a bigger spot on Fremont Street, but they had to move again after 2 years because they lost their lease. In his autobiography, Rick explained that he and his dad had wanted to change the store into a pawn shop for a while, seeing it as a logical next step, but they couldn't due to a law from 1955 in Las Vegas, which only issued a limited number of pawn licenses based on the city's population. So, they applied for a pawn license as soon as the city's population hit 250,000, and by 1989, they finally got their pawn license after facing some legal challenges. That same year, the father and son opened the gold and silver pawn shop at 713 Las Vegas Boulevard South, not far from the Las Vegas Strip. At first, the father and son focused on selling special sports items and unique historical pieces in their shop, but jewelry became their top-selling item over time. Their business grew and became well known in Las Vegas. By 2005, they were lending out millions each year, earning hundreds of thousands in interest income. The following year, the store became known for having rare sports items with interesting backgrounds, like a 2001 Super Bowl ring that belonged to football player Brock Williams. They also helped out gamblers who would pawn things to get money for gas to return home. Their growth and popularity caught the attention of the History Channel, which led to the birth of Pawn Stars. The show premiered in July 2009. Brent Montgomery and Colby Gaines from Left Field Pictures came up with the idea for Pawn Stars during a visit to Las Vegas in 2008. They loved the variety of interesting and shady pawn shops, believing that these shops could be home to unique characters. They looked for a family-owned shop to base a TV series on, and eventually discovered the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop, which was less than 2 miles from the Las Vegas Strip. This shop had already been the focus of a PBS documentary in 2001, and Rick, the manager and part owner, had wanted a show about his shop for years. Rick had previously appeared in an episode of Insomniac with Dave Attell in 2003. The show was first pitched to HBO, who didn't like the original idea, but they allowed it to be changed into the family-friendly style we have today. Originally named Pawning History, it was later changed to Pawn Stars to better fit what they were shooting. The name is a playful pun on Porn Stars. The show is filmed at the famous Gold and Silver Pawn Shop in Las Vegas, Nevada. While jewelry is the most common item pawned there, customers on Pawn Stars bring in a range of vintage or antique items. The shop holds over 10,000 items in its inventory. During filming, the store is closed to the public, with only a few approved customers allowed inside. The Harrison family became very popular because of the show. Many people watched it, left positive reviews, and wanted more, which helped the show grow. In return, every year in January 2011, Pawn Stars was the top-rated show on the History Channel and the second highest-rated reality show after Jersey Shore. On June 7, 2011, Rick Harrison released his biography, License to Pawn, Deals, Steals, and My Life at the Gold and Silver, which reached number 22 on the New York Times bestseller list by June 26, 2011. In this same year, Rick divorced his second wife, Tracy. The following year, Rick Harrison, who had been divorced twice, announced his engagement to Deanna Burdett, who was also divorced. Rick was happy with the show's success and his growing popularity among fans. He, Corey, and Chumlee appeared as themselves in an episode of iCarly titled, I Lost My Mind in Vegas. 4 days later, Rick played an antique store owner in an episode of another series titled The Middle. Around this time, he married Deanna Burdett in Laguna Beach, California. Through this marriage, Rick gained 3 stepdaughters, Serena, Kiana, and Marissa. In January 2014, Rick Harrison became the spokesperson for the MicroTouch One razor, a men's shaving product, and appeared in a TV commercial for it. A few months later, the History Channel premiered United Stuff of America, a show from the producers of Pawn Stars that shined a light on notable artifacts from important historical moments. In July 2014, the game show Pornography premiered on the History Channel, featuring Rick, Corey, and Chumlee competing against contestants to prevent them from winning cash and items from the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop's inventory. But sadly, a series of unfortunate tragedies happened to Rick and his family. Rick lost his father in June 2018. Richard Harrison, known as the Old Man, on the TV show Pawn Stars, passed away. Rick announced his father's death to over 245,000 Instagram followers on Monday, stating that Parkinson's disease was the cause. A representative for the Harrisons confirmed the patriarch's passing and provided the same statement Rick shared on Instagram. A statement from the History Channel expressed their sadness over the passing of the TV star. We are very sad about the loss of our friend Richard the Old Man Harrison, who was a beloved member of the History and Pawn Stars family. We'll miss his wisdom and honesty. Our hearts are with the Harrison family during this tough time. Losing his father brought Rick immense sadness, and also made him solely responsible for looking after the family and running the shop. Then, the COVID-19 pandemic hit in 2019, severely affecting the business and creating many challenges for Rick. With many people struggling during COVID-19, one might have assumed that pawn shops were thriving. After all, If you were in a tough spot and needed quick cash, a pawn shop was the go-to place. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case for many of these businesses. While there was initially a boost in business at the start of the pandemic, it didn't last long.